Hello, everyone. I am Carolyn Moor, and it is time for the Widow Empowerment Event 2020, our virtual version, which is the first time we have ever done this before. Most of the times we're actually together in a big room, and we are absolutely hyped up, and we're hugging each other, and we're looking at resources, but because of COVID, now everyone has to do virtual. So now we got a beautiful backdrop. We've got our social media coordinator over here, Sunshine, assisting me tonight. And then we've got Cheryl Root, who is our program admin at Modern Widows Club. And we are so excited to have everyone. So we're gonna give everybody a few minutes to get on, and I've got everything ready. But I'm so excited that you are all here for our virtual Widow Empowerment event. Who knew? I'm so used to the nervousness of stepping up on a stage, and instead the nervousness was actually getting this ready instead. But I'm just so happy. We have 440 participants in this event. And not everybody will be on the lives because we know you guys are very busy women. And we're going to record this, so it's not going to be a problem at all. Every one of these is recorded tonight and tomorrow. So no sweat, no worries, no extra stress. You can watch it completely later at your leisure, which is the way it should be, because I always say widows are the busiest women on earth. And it's so true. So I'm so glad that so many of you guys we have 12 countries represented. I was so impressed when I got the list, and I just went, wow, 440 women from 12 countries. And it might've been more. That was the last numbers I got yesterday. So we'll give all those numbers, and thanks to all of you guys for doing your survey. We had actually 500 people do the survey. And that survey will really serve the future in what kind of programs we create for you, what kind of topics we have at our events. It really is important that we hear your voice. And in fact, that's how these events came to be, because we started realizing that we needed an event surrounded around all the things that widows care about. So I have a little speech, but I just want to give you first just a little bit of history, give some people a little bit of time to get on here. But Modern Widows Club actually started in 2011 in my home with two ladies. I was a very busy single mom, solo parent mom, raising preteens. If anyone's ever done that before, they know what I'm talking about. My life was busy, and I was running an interior design firm. That's what I've been doing for 25 years. Went back to college in my late 20s and love interior design. But I kept getting women want to possibly mentor or just ask some questions about widowhood. And then in 2006, I was on a TV show called Shalom in the Home on TLC, and that show led me to be interviewed by Oprah on the Oprah show. So when that happened, a lot of ladies got to know who I was. And at the time, I just really couldn't do anything. I was maxed out as far as work and my life in general. And in 2001, though, I decided that I had enough time to maybe mentor two ladies. And that's really the humble beginnings and the grassroots of where Modern Widows Club started. And the reason why we call it Modern Widows Club is because modern means right now. So it doesn't matter what age you are or what stage or how many years you've been widowed. That's irrelevant. It's actually, are you wanting an empowerment organization that you want to grow with and learn from other women in widowhood. And then obviously we're all widows, and we're in this club that none of us wanted to be in. So I just want to welcome all of you guys tonight. I really think it's amazing that you take out time to be on something like this for widows, to have the time. And I know we've got some watch parties out there. I'm going to wave at you guys, and I want you guys to take pictures and get them to me later. I'm really excited about that. But Modern Widows Club started in 2011, and we sort of grew slow. Our first chapter was in Kansas City, and we just kind of grew from there. Minneapolis and Seattle and LA and Birmingham and Greenville and Janesville, and we just sort of, we have 32 chapters now, and we have over 65 widow leaders. We actually have a leadership development program, and so now we're launching virtual chapters, not only in-person chapters, and that's because of the times. It's a sign of the times. We know that reaching women virtually like this is really important. So what we call each other is WISTER. Okay, it's a name that we actually copyrighted. It's Widow Sister. So when we say WISTER, we mean you. And it's our own code word, sort of. It's annoying because when you type it in, it wants to say like something else. I don't know, but it won't ever accept the word. And hopefully one day it'll be in Urban Dictionary, and then it'll be accepted. But for right now, it says Modern Widows Club is actually the largest widows research population. So the reason why we do polls like we poll and ask you questions on surveys like we did even coming to this event is we want to learn from you. We've learned so much from the tens of thousands of widows. We have about 40,000 widows in our entire community and their family members. And when you listen to enough widows, you learn a lot. They're the strongest, wisest, most amazing women I have ever met. So I have a little bit, so this is what we're gonna do. I have a little speech that I wrote, and I don't normally do that, but I felt so moved because there's so many ladies that are on this call. And then we're gonna go and we're gonna talk about the 7 pillars of widowhood. It's something that really everything we do here at MWC is based off of, okay? Then we're going to go over why have an event like this. Obviously, virtual's different, but for some of you, you've been to the 2017 and 2018 events, and you know what it's like, and the power when hundreds of widows get together. So it's a little bit different this time, but we're all building resilience, and we're all learning new things, and so we'll take what we can get this year. Yeah. So then after we talk about why this event is important, then we're going to talk about what we're going to learn. Okay. And then we're going to go over to hopefully all of you guys got your handbook, and we're just going to kind of run through it really quickly, not all the pages, because as you saw, it's pretty big. But it's got a lot of information, a lot of resources, and a lot of content for you. It's got all the links for all the lives and all the videos that you can watch at your leisure. We gave you guys the 2017 and 2018 videos because they're just really valuable. And then we're going to do a little exercise called an empowerment exercise with me, just short, really nice to do at the beginning of the event. And then we're gonna have a little Q&A. And if you have any questions, you can actually post some of those questions. And we've got 2 people that are able, one attendee and one panelist here that's actually able to answer some of your questions, okay? So for those of you who are on this call that are international, you can email us too at support@modernwidowsclub.org. And then for our domestic attendees, you can either email at support@modernwidowsclub.org, or you can call our 844-4-A-WIDOW. So that's, there will be someone there at both of those to answer your questions and answer your calls. If you just leave a message, we'll be able to answer your question and get back to you. But we just want to make sure that all of you don't have any problems opening up anything or getting onto these calls at all. So, and let's see. And then we have a giveaway. We have a gift. So after every live webinar, if you are on to the end, we have a prize to give. And so you want to stay on until the end, so you'll be eligible. We'll have Sunshine and Cheryl will pick out your name and we'll go. So anyway, that's it. I've got my speech here and I'm going to read it to you. I'm really grateful to our Modern Widows Club member, Martha, who actually helped me craft this. And it's really just how I feel about you and about widowhood and life and Modern Widows Club and this whole event. So I just want to say welcome to this virtual space. This is the first time, like I said earlier, that we've ever done this, and it is hosted by the nonprofit Modern Widows Club. This is a place where doubters become believers, and where survivor journeys become thriving journeys. When you realize there are millions of women like you who have joined a club that you never wanted to join. That club has been 20 years in the making up to this moment, because that's when I became widowed. An inspired vision was given to me around 8 years ago that I needed to develop and provide a place where widows could come together and be heard, seen, respected, understood, and loved. Society as a whole does not recognize widows. They become invisible as early as a few weeks after their loss. It is a major part of our mission to change that. Here's what I do know. It's been waiting for us to lead the change. Yes, with our grit and our grace, with our stories and our struggles, with our tears and our triumphs, all of us together at Modern Widows Club and beyond are making widows matter by never giving up on the power of raising awareness and compassion for the important issues that widows need addressed on numerous levels today. I'm sure all of you guys are high-fiving and saying amen, sister, to these things, because I know my whisters. One of the most accomplished and unknown widow researchers was Dr. Helena Lapata. She is a sociologist. Most people have never heard of her. Probably, maybe not very many of you have either. She was from Poland, and she fled to the US to escape Nazi rule. She received her PhD from the University of Chicago and went on to teach at Loyola University for 30 years. She published 20 books during her career, and in 1979, she wrote a book, Women as Widows, Support Systems. That explained the importance of widows receiving support. Let me back up there, 1979. That's important to remember. Honestly, only the folks in academia really noticed. They probably patted her on the back and said, "That's awesome, sweetie." I've been told that many times. But in 1994, her husband, Richard Lapata, passed away. And after 40 years of successful years of marriage, she became a widow. A woman's role that she had researched and knew well from her studies, but now had found herself in those exact shoes in which those she had surveyed. She went on to write the most informative book about the study of widows that I have ever found in all my years of research. And I bet you've never heard of it. It was published in 1997, titled Current Widowhood, Myths versus the Realities. Once I finished reading that book, the real shocker to me was you could have just changed that 1997 publishing date and fast forwarded to the current year of 2020, because almost nothing has changed in that span of time. I got to take a breath right there. And it made me want to become an activist for widows during my lifetime. I always say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Dr. Helena Lapata, she was a dreamer too. She dreamt and she found proof that widowhood of all the stages of life for a woman was the most complex because it is particularly unique. What widows need is a multifaceted solution. They need these 7 pillars of healthyhood that I will be talking about soon. She spelled out the entire social issue, and yet it continued to be completely ignored. So nothing in that book is very hard to find nowadays because you have to find a used copy of it. I sure wish I would have met her. She was definitely what I would consider a widow legend. And in fact, when I went to Janesville and I went and met that chapter, she actually from Delavan Lakes, her family lives in that area, and I tried to reach out to them because I honestly just wanted to tell them thank you. So now let me tell you a little bit about some other widows that you may know, because that's someone you don't know, but there's some other widows we know about, and I want to talk about them. The year that I was born, which is 1963, many tragic occurrences happened that made the world feel like it was falling apart. Does that sound familiar? When I was 9 months old, U.S. President John F. Kennedy was shot and killed during a motorcade in Dallas, Texas. At that moment, Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy became the most famous widow in modern history. Instantly, she became a young widow with 2 small children to raise. And then, when I was 5 years old, in 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. was tragically assassinated, and his wife, Coretta Scott King, joined our club, instantly becoming a young widow with 4 small children. And in that same year, Bobby Kennedy was assassinated, leaving his beloved wife a young widow raising 11 children on her own. I don't remember these historic moments personally, but I've learned about them through my family stories and historical records. But today, I understand the pain and the overwhelming pathway they must have walked with so much more clarity now. Because on Valentine's Day, 2000, there was another young widow with small children, and that woman was me. As I started my personal widow journey, recognizing daily just how difficult it is, and I felt a certain kinship and responsibility to shoulder on with and for them. I had a need to sound the clarion call for all my fellow widow sisters, past, present, that's you, and future. It's fascinating to think about, how is it possible that we feel a kinship with complete strangers, people we've never met or don't know? These are women, like I said, we will never meet them. We will never know them personally. And some of you I have not met. Some of you I have met. And some of you I only know virtually. And yet I feel a kinship and a love to shoulder on with you. One of the ladies in Minneapolis told me once, I had a dream and I was standing on your shoulders because I couldn't walk alone. And I said, will you come down and walk beside me? That's the kind of strength that the women have in this organization, where they are willing to carry something very heavy along with you. And then when you're ready to walk, we're ready to walk alongside you. So I can genuinely and deeply feel the massive, unfair, life-changing pain of losing someone that they loved. I'd be willing to guess that a large majority of us are empaths. I can also feel the misunderstanding and the lack of compassion that society has for widows. I'm sure all of you have experienced this. So as they certainly couldn't have known as new widows what was about to happen when they found themselves walking through the agonizing reality of facing their children, their family, and all of society around them. And in their case, the overwhelming media attention as well. When that kind of connection is intuitively understanding another person, is the same kind of powerful connection you will experience in being a member of this club with other widows. A club that not one person here ever wanted to join, but I am so glad we have it. I didn't have it when I was newly widowed, and that was the driving force. And for me to someday have strength and to do something. Remember, I'll do something when I can. This is a club that sounds like the worst thing ever to join, and yet it turns out to be the singular most healthy choice you'll ever have made. When you are far in the future of your trajectory and looking back. I've heard this from hundreds of widows, and I never tire of hearing that story. So you are here for a big reason, and I don't know what that is for you, but we're going to find out. However, I am so thrilled that you said yes to this. The acceptance of where you have landed is the first most powerful realization a widow faces. The bravest of the brave come to MWC, and yet you may not see yourself as a courageous woman in this moment, which I completely understand. I didn't see it in myself for a long time. But if you would just allow me for just a moment to talk from a place of having talked to tens of thousands of widows, I say that seeing is believing. And I feel so strongly and very confidently that you are the bravest of the brave. Yes, you will be inspired in ways that are incomprehensible at this moment. I know that for sure. That's what my friend Dr. Steve Southwick taught me about the mystery of ordinary magic moments. Moments that turn into your legacy, fused with the legacy of the loved one you lost. You have already paid the highest price of a real life ticket to join this event and also this organization. We get it. We do. The ultimate price has been paid for your entrance into MWC, and we here at MWC and myself do not take that lightly. I guess launching Modern Widows Club and our first WE was my destiny in many ways by having done so in Orlando, Florida. That's where we are. The home of Disney World, the most magical place on earth, but it's closed right now. So we're going to create our own magic in Orlando. I didn't put that connection together until another widow friend pointed it out to me just recently. But when she shared, I couldn't deny that I was choosing to grow where I am planted, right here in my own hometown. So right now, right here, with what we have, is where we all create new beginnings. Today is a new beginning for you. I know that. This event experience will mean many different and valuable things to each of you. It'll be interesting to hear what you learn, what ahas you have. I'm interested. You can email me. I would love to hear. You will be moved, and moving means that you're alive and you're in the game of life. Moving is much less painful than getting stuck. You might know about that. Being stuck honestly doesn't serve anyone, and it's not what I want and I hope for you. You deserve a path forward with trusted companions that support you. It's everything I wanted when I first became widowed. You might have heard of the hypothesis of the butterfly effect. Well, that was another thing that came out of 1963. Edward Lorenz, a scientist, stated, a butterfly can flap its wings and set molecules of air in motion, in turn, moving more molecules of air, eventually capable of starting a hurricane. I live in Florida, so there must be a lot of butterflies out there flapping because we get a lot of hurricanes. You could start a hurricane on the other side of the planet. Well, that happens to be here in Florida. His ideas were literally laughed at the conference. He was told that it was completely ridiculous and preposterous. And you know what? Someone once told me that Modern Widows Club was ridiculous and preposterous. And you know what? Well, I stopped listening to that person and giving them any of my attention because they were wrong. So you can imagine the surprise and the shock of the physicists when they found out that many years later that there was in fact a law called the law of sensitive dependence upon initial conditions. I'm sure you guys didn't know you were going to learn that tonight. But there is a force of encompassing more than mere butterfly wings, but of people and their actions. People like you attending this event. Yeah, WEE2020 is a force to be reckoned with. You are the butterfly effect, whether you realize it or not, because everything you do matters. Every move you make and every action you take matters forever. If you apply this proven hypothesis to women in widowhood, it's fair to say that we are a force of good to be reckoned with. Who agrees with me? See, if you guys were on the call, you could do this. This is what we do on all of our meeting calls. And when all of you sign up for the virtual, when you find at the virtual meeting, we're going to do, I'll teach you this. But anyway, let me just repeat that again, okay? We, all of us butterflies, we are a force of good to be reckoned with. Who agrees? Oh yeah. We have the power within ourselves and in the community of like-minded women to not just change the world, but change the world of widowhood in the process. You have been created in order that you might take a difference, uniquely make a difference, uniquely your own. So many of you are already doing that. I love it. Mine has been to listen to my dreams, often scary ones that ask me to do things I don't understand, nor do I want to. This virtual event is one of those. Because I felt that widowhood was already such a rough road on its own. But every time I'd meet a new widow sister, I realized that I was in a club of some extraordinary women full of miraculous happenings, even if some of those were the darkest days of their lives. It also meant it could, if we believe, contain the brightest days of their lives too. I love this quote by Susan Cain. She's a writer and a lecturer. Everyone shines given the right lighting. You are in the right lighting right now. And you have your butterfly wings that are ready to be a force for good in the world. Even if you don't feel ready, you are not alone in feeling that way. Every one of us has felt that feeling. It's called growth. Some people mistake it as grief. Those butterflies in your stomach that tell you that you are unsure about what is about to happen in your life are there to remind you that you are meant to grow and fly towards your destined purpose. Even in this role and at whatever stage of widowhood you find yourself in, is you never, again, let me repeat, never wanted to be here. I'd like to share a little story about butterflies, the kind that you get in your stomach, the ones that feel like fear and uncertainty that creep into our bodies. I got butterflies in my stomach earlier this year thinking about doing this tonight and tomorrow, this virtual WEE. The thought of it was just frightening to me. And here I am facing my fear. But I also got butterflies in my stomach when a big-hearted man named Richard got down on his knee and asked me to be his wife this year. A man who will become my chapter 2. After being single and a solo widowed mom for 20 years, a man who does everything possible to honor me, my daughters, and also honor the legacy of my late husband, Chad. Yep, I'm engaged to be married. And you know what? He found me because of Modern Widows Club. Yeah. Because I was, you see, in another love story that was called Modern Widows Club and Widow Empowerment Event, both focused on empowering widows to thrive. I found happiness and purpose and meaning in my life in serving others after so many trials and tribulations and fears and tears of the past. And in essence, I healed. I was ready to show others how to heal as well. I rebuilt a new life. And in that new life came a beautiful surprise I never could have predicted or seen coming. Life can be so mysterious and finds us wherever we find ourselves. To my surprise, Richard and I set up a date to have a marriage ceremony. But as you can guess, it got canceled because of COVID. And you can imagine my sadness after waiting all that time. When everything got rescheduled to a far off date, I realized how resilient I really had become, because through it all, I was able to see patience and perseverance and determination from being widowed was now serving me very well today when I needed to rely on it, being forced in a situation out of my control again. I worked with our wedding planner and to help reschedule the future date. And quite frankly, none of it was of my choosing. It was a date which, had to work out for everybody involved because everyone had already been scheduled. And so they told me that the only date that was available was November 22nd, 2020. So that date was chosen for me. And it gave me goosebumps. Because why? Because now it's a date that I share in common with President J.F. Kennedy and his widow, Jacqueline Kennedy, whose tragedy happened on November 22nd, 1963. Two different widows, two different occasions, both full of immeasurable love and everything. You can only imagine my surprise. Sorry, I lost my place. You can only imagine my sudden surprise and realization when the significance of that date came to me yesterday. Yeah, right? This is what happens when you write at the last minute. But I'm a woman of faith, and I know blessings happen when we least expect them. And I see this as one more sign that I'm headed in the right direction in my life. You will have many ahas and goosebump moments too, if you haven't already, and I'm sure you have. Two widows on the other end of the spectrum of life and love and loss, intertwined, understanding one another through time and space. It felt like a full circle moment for me, a bittersweet serendipity that happens so often for us. So here we all are together on June 26th with our phones and our computers doing the best that we can, and for all the same reasons: life, love, and loss. For all the widows of the past and all of you today, I say, let's believe in no coincidences and create a better future for widows. Let's begin today with each one of us. Onward and upward. That's my new saying. Everybody in MWC knows that meets on Zoom calls with me every day. I am so grateful that you are here, and I'm ready for you to experience this life-changing virtual 2020 Widow Empowerment event. We are all traveling this road together, and nothing will stop us now. I believe in you 100%. So lean into life. Let's build some resilience, and let's go make a positive difference in the world, because we can do this. That's it, you guys. Now, let's get to the other stuff that we can do it. As you can tell, I love you guys so much. And I'm 100%. So these 7 pillars of healthy widowhood, let me talk about these for a second. So when you go through your handbook, you'll see that there's a pillar there. Well, there's 7 areas that I've identified that basically we all keep working on these areas. I'll tell you what they are: emotional and mental health, physical health, spiritual health, relational health, whether it's new relationships or with our families or with our children, younger, older, friends, all that. Financial health, purpose and meaning health. Finding that is important. It's one of the pillars. And then fun and creativity. This is why we have a dance party at this event, because we like to have fun too. Laughter is great medicine for widows. There's a time to cry and there's a time to laugh. And we want to do all that with you. So let me see here. So every video topic in your handbook lists whatever category it is. So if you're looking for something in that certain area, you can go and watch those videos first. But whether it's a live or pre-recorded or any of our vault videos, you'll see that it is actually labeled. Basically everything we do, all of our blog, all of our podcasts, everything we do falls under one of these pillars. So the next thing is I want to talk about is, why have a we? Why have a we? Obviously you're here because you probably already are so brilliant that you already know the answer to this question. But here was my answer. I said, because it's time for widows to be active in raising one another up. And the best way to do that is to create an event for widows, created by widows. Shocker. Great way to show, this is just a great way to showcase all the amazing talent and all the hearts that are in our community. And I know they're massive. So what are you going to learn? A lot. You're going to learn a lot in this, just like our live version. First, you're going to learn that your future is full of possibilities. Number 1. Second, you'll learn there are many people who deeply care to support you. Yes. Don't ever believe the lies that there aren't people out there who care about you, because right here is the best place to be to learn that. Thirdly, you will learn more about the topics that widows ask for, because we ask our widows what they want to learn, right? Everything we do, we've learned from widow mentors and leaders and advocates in this organization. 8 years of content of saying, let's go have a talk about that. Let's whether it's a topic that's edgy or vitally important, just educationally. I've learned so much being in this organization from our ladies. And so that, this event was created by listening to women like you. So I hope you really enjoy it. Now, I'm going to have Cheryl pull up. She's going to share her screen and we're going to pull up the handbook, and I'm just going to run through it just really quick, not massively, but we're going to run through it real quick. This is just in case you haven't opened up your handbook yet, I just want to show you a little bit about what it looks like and kind of how it works, and just to tell you, some things. Let me see. It was up there, Cheryl. Let me see. Where did it go? You are viewing Cheryl's screen. I can't see anything. I can't see anything. Can you see anything, Cheryl? All I'm getting is a black screen. So I'm not sure where it went.
You have it on your computer?
I do.
You can just share your screen instead.
Yeah. So can't get it up. You got it, Cheryl?
Yeah, she got it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is the cover page. I hope everybody can see this. You should have gotten an email today. Hopefully you clicked on that and you were able to open it up. So let's go to the next page, Cheryl. Okay, so here's the second page is your table of contents. Now that's a lot of information, but don't freak out because the first part is some welcome letters and then just some of the things, general information about the event. And then actually, Cheryl, if you can go to actually page 18, it'll go to where day 1 is, which is actually today. And it shows the links and yeah, so this is all the general information. You can read through all of that, take some time to do that. And then this is today. It's day 1, Friday, June 26. Here we are. We're talking about everything on this list. And there's the link. There's the webinar link. See where it's blue? Some people don't know that where it's blue and it's underlined, that's a link. And so if you just scroll over, you just pop on, you just click that and it'll open up, okay? So that's how it is just universally around the world. Some people don't know that, but if you scroll over there, your little cursor, Cheryl, show them what the cursor looks like when you roll over, see? And so it'll pop up and you'll go to another page, okay? And then you'll be able to get into the webinar. So let's go to the next page, Cheryl, for day 2. So this is tomorrow morning, and there's the link. You also should have an email that sent out all these links, so you don't even have to have this if you don't want to. But there's the second page, and then I'm going to be introducing the next page, which is Dr. Mixino. And she's going to be our first speaker tomorrow. And for those of you who have been in Model Widows Club for a while, you know Dr. Mixino. And Dr. Mixino has some great videos from 2017 to 2018. I would highly encourage you to go over there and click on them and watch them because it's, well, there's one that's a pretty, it's about, yeah. Anyway, you'll figure it out. So let's go to the next slide, Cheryl. So then right after, you're going to get an invitation 1 hour, just so you know, before each one of these lives. So don't be mad at us when we flood your email tomorrow, but we're just trying to make sure that everybody has the link, you know, 1 hour before, because believe me, sometimes if they didn't send those to me, I would miss my meetings, and I have missed some meetings, and it's so bad. And it's so embarrassing. But if you want to be on these lives, just click on it, show up at the time, awesome. If you don't worry about it. We're recording them and we're gonna send these links to you, and you can watch whenever you're like hanging out, you know, at the beach or barbecue or, you know, isolated in your house because of COVID. No, I don't mean to laugh about that. We're all really frustrated, I get it. But you know what I mean. It's like on your phone, wherever you're at, you can listen in. So this is Katie Tifter. She's from our Minneapolis chapter. You guys are going to love her. To swipe or not to swipe, dating tips for widows. If you're not ready to hear a topic like that, don't come to that live. But what I can tell you about these speakers are they're all very compassionate women, and they've all been there. I've known Katie. She came to the 2018 Widow Empowerment event live, and I've seen amazing growth with her in 2 years. So the next slide. So then after that is we're going to have a first responders widow discussion. Now, I would highly recommend everyone attend this call. These 3 ladies have a lot to say about first responders and widowhood life and being married to a first responder. It's a really hot topic right now. And I learned a lot from these ladies, and I think this is just going to be the beginning of many conversations. But you want to be on this call because they're on fire, these ladies. I love it. Next slide. So Nora McNerney, how many people know her? If you have not seen her TED video, then you're probably missing out, because I think like 8 million people have, about grief. And she is awesome. She is going to be giving some of her No Happy Endings books. She's just fun, but she's real and raw, and it's going to be a treat for you guys. I'm so glad she is going to be on the call with us. She's awesome, awesome. Next slide. So then we have Heather Leathers from Global Fund for Widows. This woman blows my mind away. And that's sometimes hard to do for me. But I would love, if you consider yourself at all an advocate or you're trying to learn more about widow causes, this is definitely the live to be on, because her presentation rocked my world. I think it kind of moved me to another level of understanding globally the impact that I can have as just one person. And so you will, I met Heather actually in the United Nations in 2016. And since then, talk about a force of nature. We're going to do some great things this year. So be on that live if you want. If not, it'll be recorded. Next slide. So here is our Black Lives Matter panel. We've got two ladies in our community that have thought-provoking, intelligent women who hearts really want to talk about a lot of things around this topic. Obviously, we were all in the midst of the George Floyd passing and the turmoil and the unrest around that. And widows have a unique perspective about this. And I'm so excited for them to have a platform to launch this conversation and talk a little bit deeper about what it is that we can do and how we can be involved and just understanding the issue at hand. So being on that call, I highly recommend you be on that call. The next one. Okay, and then it comes back to me. We're going to do a little pep talk activity. This is the end of all the lives. And what I want to tell you is that you want to bring a candle, because at the end we're going to do a group candle lighting. So just have a candle lit nearby. And you also, for the dance party, you're going to need to bring a hat, some kind of hat. It can be whatever you want. Obviously I'm getting ready for July 4th and here in the US and and celebrate. But because we're doing a virtual dance party, you probably can only see people this far up. So we're just gonna dress up our heads, which is so sad because we had a really great disco party in 2018. And I'll be looking forward to 2021 when we can all dance together. So next slide. I think it's the dance party one, which is great. So let's see. So Cheryl, the rest of them, if you kind of scroll through, Cheryl, they can kind of see the pre-recorded ones are here. You can just read all the content there. Just click on the blue links. These are the Vault videos from 2017, 2018. And then we have all the speaker profiles because we want you to know the people that are involved in MWC and especially this event. So these are all the speakers from 2017, 18, and we didn't have an event in 2019. And then we have a resource directory for you, which is a long list of books that I have personally approved, and then resources that we work with and we love. And so then, let's see, that bonus, and then there's the bonus content. And so it's just like a mini book that I'm giving everyone. It's just content that's really powerful and it explains a little bit more of kind of the background. So this is the Wistra meter is where I wanted to stop. So right here is when I want to, if you guys have your handbooks with you, I want you to go to, what page is that? Like 60, man, I can't read that. 69, that's right, 69. Whew. 69. So this little meter is something that we came up with in Modern Widows Club. And this is what it looks like, okay? And so you might be able to look in your handbook, but what I'm gonna do is tell you this little pink is what it says is who she was. And then this over here is who she is becoming. And then this is the bridge in which widows are traveling on, okay? And so most people think that we're a grief organization and we're not, but grief is represented and well represented actually in this graph, because this is grief and this is survival mode, mental health and grief recovery, and where you're dealing with the legal and financial and maybe home decisions. And then here's where Modern Widows Club comes in, right at the top of the bridge. This is a community of social support, role models, and champions. And then this is where we exist. This second quadrant, like the rest of the bridge to who she's becoming, and it's more about reconciliation. It's about thriving, and it's about empowerment and inspiration and giving back. And so this is in your handbook. And what I want you to do is just take a look and kind of just guess where you are, because you're right here. You're obviously in Modern Widows Club, but you might be more on the grief side, but you might also be more on the growth side. And so it's kind of nice to take a look at this and say, where am I starting from at this event? And so just do that, at some time during this event to kind of get a gauge on where you're at. And then there's one more thing I want to do with you. And it's called this empowerment exercise. And that's actually on page 84, okay? And before you start tomorrow or tonight, I want you to do something for me. And you can share these with me if you want to. You can send them to support@modernwidowsclub.org. But this empowerment exercise is about feeling where you are right now. It's about literally, there's no perfect answer here. It's just about your experience. And all I want you to do is answer 2 small questions. I am, and life is. So I want you to complete it, because tomorrow at the end of the conference, I'm going to have you do it again. Okay, but today I want you to just pour out how you're feeling, and it's healthy for you to do that. So there's no wrong or right answer here. It's just whatever it is. I am, for me, I'm grateful. I'm no longer nervous. I'm excited for everyone who's on this event. Life is a mystery. Life can be difficult. Life can be easy if I get out of my own way. You can write anything that you want, okay? Because yesterday, when my cat bit my daughter, it wasn't a very good day. And if I would have filled this out then, I would have said, life is freaking chaos. So whatever's going on right now, just be honest and write it down, okay? So that's all I have, let's see, for you right now. What I do need to do is, here, where's my last piece of paper, is at the end of every webinar, of course, guess what? We're going to give away a prize. And one of the participants that are on here, looks like we have about 162 participants on here right now, which is so awesome. Some of you, I probably know, some of you I don't, but thanks for staying on, and I don't want to keep you longer than an hour. But if you have any questions, are there any questions that anybody wanted to ask me or got unanswered, or I need to share? Is Cheryl or Sunshine, is there anything?
We have one. How can I participate in leadership training program?
How can you participate in leadership? What I would do is I would send an email to, the question was, how do I participate in leadership development? Great. We would love for you to be involved. We're setting up some committees of volunteers. That might be one way to get involved. We have a lot of people who actually filled out the survey who want to become volunteers, and I'm so grateful for that. But leadership development, we have yet to decide when our next one was. We actually just did a leadership development virtual program for 7 new leaders. And so we're gonna find out that we're actually launching a virtual chapter on July 2nd, and in your handbook, you can actually, under the resource directory, there's a place there where you can actually sign up and be a part of that virtual. And me and Cindy Toledo from Seattle is going to lead that. And so I'm really excited about that. But you really just need to write support@modernwidowsclub.org. And one of our regional leaders would get back with you and start that interviewing process. That's really where it starts. Anything else?
Yes, we do have another one. Someone says, do you have any support for suicide widows?
Do we have any support for suicide widows? Suicide, specifically, we do not have any groups just for suicide widows. However, I really think that that's actually going to come in this year, and it'll probably start virtually. What I believe is because we are concerned about suicide. We know that suicide is the 3rd leading cause why men die in the United States. I don't really know the statistics globally, but it's vitally important that you have the support from other women who, and so we need to find leaders who have been, when we have several leaders actually right now. So it's just a matter of approaching and seeing who would want to lead that, and maybe start virtually. I think that would be a really wonderful idea. So we will make note of that and talk about that with our program team. So thank you for that question. Anything else?
That is all.
Okay. Let's see, we're about 4 minutes away. I don't want to keep you guys longer than an hour. There's some great questions, and all the questions that you guys asked, I mean, those are being documented. So we'll be able to, if you didn't get a question answered, then we'll get back to you. And let me just repeat again, if for anyone who is domestic meaning the United States, you can call us at 844-4-A-WIDOW, or anyone international domestic, write us at support@modernwidowsclub.org, and we will get answers to you. If you want to know that if there's a chapter in your city, you can go to modernwidowsclub.org and look under chapters. If you want to know what we do for advocacy, there's a tab there. You can look under there. And you're going to learn a lot. And I'm excited about tomorrow. You made it very easy for me tonight to get excited and look forward to tomorrow. So I have a gift, and it's a unique gift. It's a personal made gift, and it's a bracelet. It looks like this. I'm going to hold it up. It's called, that's our name for ourselves, Wister, and it's in our towards turquoise blue color. But then on the back side, it has widow plus sister. And so that's what we are going to be giving away. And someone has a name for me who is the winner.
I'll do it. I'm here. Lisa,
Uh-oh.
How about Lisa Coleman?
Lisa Coleman, you need to please write us at support@modernwidowsclub.org and tell us that you won the prize tonight, so that we can get the address, so we can get your address and we can mail it to you. So that's all I have for you guys tonight. I hope now you're a little bit more informed about what's going to happen tomorrow. Let's see, we're starting on day 2 at 10 Central Time. Everything we do for the whole event is Central Time. Sunshine found that out because she showed up an hour early tonight. And it's okay. I was like, all right, we get to have fun. So so tomorrow, 10, get your handbook, enjoy your handbook. And you know what, you guys? Onward and upward. That's where we're headed. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Love you guys. God bless you.